Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this.
Welcome back to the Dr. Joe Show. The video you're about to watch is about how to make your own yogurt at your own house. And it's really important that you follow all the steps exactly as I say. If you don't, you might screw it up. How long can yogurt last in your fridge after you've made it? Well, you got to eat it. So whatever you make, you got to eat it. And depending on how large your family is, it just depends. It might last 2 weeks, it might last a month. But old yogurt typically will get very runny, and it will get sometimes fungated and dark. So when you do the process that I'm about to show you, you actually reinvigorate the bacteria. You almost give them a supercharge. You give them new life, so to speak. And when you take a bacterial culture like this and you put it into the fridge, you're actually putting it in suspended animation. So a sort of suspended animation where their division and their metabolism slows down enough that you can eat them over a period of time. And then when it's time to make more, hey, I'm down to like this much yogurt. Everybody stop eating it. Don't touch it until we make more. So let's jump right into it. Welcome back to the Dr. Joe Show. We're doing things a little differently this time. Happy New Year, everybody. Today we're going to be making yogurt and doing a couple other things. So just so you see how I have it set up, we got, this happens to be a cast iron pot lined with ceramic, Le Creuset. It's going to give you an even heating effect on the milk. You can use stainless steel or something else, but you have to really watch for boiling over. You have to stir constantly. So I'm just going to start right now. I'm using whole milk. You should pretty much never use anything other than whole milk for most things. Skim milk actually has more sugar per unit volume than whole milk, so you shouldn't be using skim milk for anything. Except certain recipes, of course. So this is about half a gallon. This pot holds a gallon, so I am going to be pouring 2 entire one of these things in here. How many ounces is this? It's 59 fluid ounces. Yeah, so it's 2 of these is just shy of a gallon, so I need to use the other one. And I'm just going to go ahead and get the heat started up here. Now you can walk away from this for periods of time, but you're going to run the risk of causing the milk to get cooked at the bottom, and it's going to stick and leave a residue there, so you have to stir constantly. I did leave those milks out a little bit before this so that they could warm up a little bit. I'm putting this back in the fridge right now. So the cast iron is going to take some time to heat up, so I am going to turn it up a little higher, but I am going to stir. You gotta stir. At this high heat, I expect it to be probably ready to go in about a half an hour, maybe less. And so the next question is, what am I looking for? What am I looking for when it's ready to be taken off the heat? You're looking for steam and you're looking for froth. Now, if I stop stirring a little bit right now and just let you guys see this, this is not what I mean. These are bubbles. This is not true froth from heat. So these bubbles will go away as it heats up, and then a very fine froth will reappear. And if you have good lighting, then you can see the steam coming off of it, and that's how you know you can pretty much take it off anytime you want. Now, if you let it steam longer, that's going to make your yogurt more thick. So some of you might like your yogurt a little thicker because maybe you're cooking with it. Maybe you're using it to bake something or make a quiche or do something with it. So maybe you don't want it too liquidy. So there's some variability. And you might be able to hear the sizzling. So there's water depositing here on the side. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a towel. And just to maybe take a little bit of time off the heating time, I'm just going to gently wipe that condensation off the side. Because the heat of vaporization of water is pretty high for the physicists out there. The heat of vaporization of water, I memorized it once. I don't know what it is. But basically, if I leave water here, that water needs to evaporate. And for water to go from liquid to gas, takes a lot of energy. So it will actually cool the pot if I let the water stay there. So if I wipe it off, then it heats up better. It's the same reason why your sweat is there to protect you in hot weather. And your sweat is salty because then that increases the heat of vaporization of that solution so that it cools you better when the water does vaporize off. So, but again, we're just making yogurt, right? So folks, I have this at pretty high heat, just short of the highest setting. And just so you know, I can already feel the heat just coming off the milk, but there's also a lot of heat that's leaking off the side. So when you're heating a pot, you want it centered on the stove. Now I didn't do the best job. I'm going to move it a little bit so it's centered. But when your flame is too big, the heat's going to leak. It's going to effectively be wasted if you have it set too high. So there is a limit to getting the most bang for your buck based on your setting. And I'm saying all this because once you get in the habit of doing this, you're gonna have a method, and it's gonna just flow. Some people might ask, where did this method come from? This method came from my grandmother, who was from Lebanon. So this is a Lebanese method, and it's probably very similar to methods from other parts of the world. I'm friends with many people who are from India, and they make their yogurt a very similar way. Everybody's got a slightly different opinion about timing, but usually things end up more or less the same. But my grandmother taught my mother, and my mother taught me, and now I'm teaching you, because this is a very important method. Why do I want you to learn to make your own yogurt? Because the vast majority of what you can buy in the store is terrible for you. If you read the ingredients, we're going to put a little picture up right here. So if you missed that, go back and pause it and look at the ingredients. I showed just an example of Siggi's. Siggi's is a good brand because if you check the ingredients and you get the plain version, it's going to show activated cultures or bacterial culture and milk and maybe heavy cream. If there's anything else in there like sugar, pectin, cornstarch, you're not going to be able to make yogurt from that. Besides the fact that cornstarch is terrible for you. So, and the nice thing about making your own yogurt is that you have the power to put whatever you want to in it. So notice right now, all those bubbles I was telling you about, they're gone. They're totally gone. Now, if I get my phone light out and I kind of look for fine little bubbles, there's some little bubbles there. You can probably see them even on the camera there. But there's a very fine froth here. But I'm not happy with it. I want more froth before I call it. And some people might ask, can I use raw milk? Yes, you can use raw milk, but again, you have to follow the method. You have to stir, and you have to get it to the same consistency, frothy and steamy. But raw milk has dangers, right? There's risk of infection. You always have to be aware that some raw milk can make you contract infections. And when you heat that milk up, there is going to be a fat layer that appears on the top because it's not going to be homogenized. because raw milk cannot be homogenized, right? So now I have the heat turned so high that I can actually feel intense heat on the bottom of my hand here. It's not too bad, but it's just an indicator of how fast I'm trying to go to get this heated up. Because usually when I do this, I have the heat lower and I come and I stir every now and then and I go back and forth. And see that fine froth? There's a very, very fine froth on there. The other thing I should tell you is the specific way I'm stirring. I'm scraping the bottom with the bottom of this, with the flat edge of this scraper. I'm not just waving it around in here. So I'm constantly scraping the bottom of the pot so that milk doesn't get stuck to the bottom of this thing. So here's something you can do. You can turn the heat down a little bit, and you let it keep spinning and going. So you can walk away and do something and come back after, you know, probably no more than a minute or two if you really want to watch for sticking to the bottom. Okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of steam. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see a lot, very light wisps of steam coming off here. You want to see more than that before you want to take it off. So folks, we've been doing this about 15 minutes at the high heat. Some of the benefits of making your own yogurt, well, you have it available in your fridge. You'll save some money. You pay for a gallon of milk, you transform it into your own yogurt. And then you'll get all the benefits without all of the negative side effects of the additives that a lot of mainstream yogurt producers put in their yogurt, like excessive sugar, processed food, cornstarch, etc. Maltodextrin. I think I'm going to talk about that on a future podcast about all the toxic effects of maltodextrin, but that's another one to watch for in your ingredient review. Some people might ask, can I add flavor to my yogurt right before you eat it? Yes. When you store it in your fridge, got distracted there. When you store it in your fridge, it should be pure, completely unadulterated, cultured yogurt. Because what you're doing when you make the yogurt, so what we're going to do after this is actually getting pretty close. So what we're going to do after this is we're going to take it off the heat. We're going to let it cool down for about 42 to 45 minutes. And once that timer goes off, then we put our starter in there. This is where it becomes very important to read labels. If you're not already doing this, then how do you know what a good starter is? There's many different types of starters. Now, for the folks who are in Yuma, it's really easy. You go to Sprouts, you look for Siggi's, and you make sure it's the plain yogurt. And I'll post that up here again, right here. You get that one, make sure the ingredients don't have any bad additives in there. Make sure it just says things like, you know, cultured milk and heavy cream or bacterial cultures. That's fine. If there's anything else, it's probably not going to work. And so when we put the starter in the yogurt, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so folks, check that out. This is the froth I wanted to tell you about. So if you pay attention, you can see some pretty brisk steaming going on here, and there's even steam that's coming off of this right here. This is how you want the milk to be. Now, if you leave it in here, if this were a stainless steel pot, and I had walked away, and I had it at the high heat, this would have boiled over and essentially exploded all over here already. So that's why when you are heating milk, you have to watch it very closely, and if you can get a cast iron pot, that would be even better, because it's going to heat it more evenly and smoothly. Now you might notice there's some stuff spilling out of here easily. I may have put a little bit too much milk in here. I would have liked to have a little bit less volume, but it's okay. It's going to work just fine. Now I'm letting it steam a little bit more. because I want it to be thick. I like my yogurt to be really chunky. And we're done. So I'm happy with how this looks. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to put this somewhere where it's going to rest for about 45 minutes. So I got my timer. I'm going to go past the 45 mark. I'm going to set it to 43 minutes just for the fudge factor, because it goes off and maybe you're busy doing something, okay? So I'm going to set it down there. And these handles are going to be hot because this is cast iron. And I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to put it over here where it will be undisturbed. Now we wait. All right, so we can now transition the yogurt. Well, transition the milk, I guess, into yogurt. So this is the yogurt that I've already made. Some people might ask, how long have I had this line of yogurt? This is actually going to be batch number 140. I started making yogurt when I came to Yuma in 2020, so this is batch number 140. I've been keeping track. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull the yogurt into view of the camera here. I don't usually do that, but I'm going to do it for this one since we are showcasing. Okay, so we have the yogurt. Here in my left hand, we got the warm milk. So this milk has had some time to cool off. And what you're supposed to do is put it right in the middle like that. I'm going to put about 10 of these spoons, heaping spoons in here. You want to put it right in the middle, and you want them to stack on top of each other. Because what's happening is the bacteria on the edge, on the very edge of this blob of yogurt as it builds up in here, it's the bacteria on the edge is probably not liking the heat too much. And some of it's dying. But the one inside, in the core, is going to be the one that proliferates. And over the next 24 to 48 hours, this whole thing is going to transform into yogurt. So how is it, somebody might ask, that we can be on batch number 140? Well, because I used really good sterile technique. If you don't use good sterile technique here, you're gonna have a bad time. I'm not even counting right now. This is close to 10 probably. But if you're worried about it being too hot, then put more cold yogurt on there because you're gonna get a higher chance of the center surviving. So that's why I'm dumping it in the middle consistently. And just for fun, I like to put a circle at the top, at the end. I like to just put a little bit of just on the top. The theory is that it's going to cool more easily, and so this bacteria here will survive somewhat. So okay. Put one more big one in there. Okay. So now I'm going to cover this, and it's going to go and rest in the corner over here, and I'm going to cover it with towels. So you see I got these 3 towels here. I'm going to slide it on over real nice and slow. Now, the side of it is warm, but it's cool enough that my hands will tolerate it. That's another way you know that the milk's not too hot, that it's going to kill everything. Okay, so putting the towels around here so it stays nice and cozy and warm. And okay, and that's it for part 1 of this. We're going to film the next part tomorrow when we take it out and see how it turned out. So this will all be put together at the end. And it's the next day, hence my red shirt. It's been a little over 24 hours. And one thing I didn't mention just a bit ago was that I did not stir the milk after I added the yogurt. All I did was I dumped the yogurt in, I covered it, and threw it in there. So it's really important that you not stir once you put your starter in there, because again, you want that biomass of yogurt to be in there and survive. If you mix it up, the heat might kill all of it, okay? So this is the reveal. I'm gonna get all the towels off of here, and we're gonna see how it turned out. So like I said, there's some cultures that will let their yogurt brew, so to speak, for longer or for shorter times. I go 24 to 36 hours. If you go beyond that too far, you run the risk of getting a fungal problem. All right, so overhead view, let's see how this looks. Looks great. This water here on the top is pure molecular water. This is like cellular clean water, and I just wish I could harvest a bunch of it. Anyway, I'm gonna put it over here. There's a good smell to it. There's a nice, clean, fresh smell of yogurt to it. So, and I'm inspecting for any dark areas, any dark circles, indicating that, a fungus grew, but I don't see that at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple spoons of this and put it into my old yogurt. The reason I'm doing this is because this is the next one I'm going to eat. And I'm gonna put the fresh stuff in the bigger container all by itself. So you can see I'm cutting a piece out of it, and it's almost like a slice of yogurt, indicating the bacterial superstructure. All of the milk has been transformed into bacteria. Okay, this is what you really want. So I just did 2 spoons of that. I think that's good. I'm going to go ahead and take this away and put it away. I'm going to put this in the fridge straight away. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my nice clean bowl. This is the same bowl you just saw, except I just cleared the old stuff out and wiped it down and cleaned it. I'm going to go ahead and just dump this yogurt straight in here like this. Now you can see there's some of it stuck there to the side. And I'm just going to scrape. Oh, there we go. So that you guys can see, I'm just scraping it. And it sticks together and nice and chunky. And that's it. So this is the newest batch of yogurt for my time here in Yuma. This is batch number 140. So there you have it. You should be able to make your own yogurt from these instructions now. So I implore you to do so. I challenge you to do so. Leave a comment below if you do it and tell me how it goes. So if you haven't already, comment, like, subscribe, share. You're not going to find many videos on real traditional yogurt making. Thanks for tuning in. So what'd you guys think of that? You want to see more of this stuff? You want to see more videos about preparing and cooking things? Let me know in the comments below.